This is quite the Christmas present here. I was out gathering some clippings of my cactus to send to my rehabilitator friend up in New York, and as I was poking around in the little spineless cactus that I've got out front, I found this. I saw this little bunny, and I thought, well, I wonder if that could be my little CinnaBunny that I rehabilitated, that had been with me in rehab for a year and 3 months. So I reached in there and grabbed her. It turns out this is my little CinnaBunny, and she remembers me. She's a wild cottontail, but she remembers me, and I could tell that when I picked her up. I know from her little snout, because when she had that infection, when I first found her, she lost the end of her snout. She was very, very sick and very dehydrated, very underweight when I came across her one night on a dirt road. And I was kind of flying down the dirt road, and when my headlights fell on her, I went to slow down, and most cottontails, they will jump out of the way, run out of the way, and I have time to slow down. She really couldn't move at all. She tried to take a hop or two, but she was too weak. My tires kind of I slid on the dirt, and she ended up either bouncing off of one of my tires, or she bounced off the chassis of the SUV somewhere. But it knocked her kind of down the road. She kind of went sliding on her feet there, and skinned up the bottom of her feet. So she had road rash on her feet, and she was underweight and dehydrated and had an infection. She was real bad sick, had swollen lymph nodes and everything. She was really in bad shape. I got her on subcutaneous fluids and Baytril injections, and I don't even remember now. I threw so much at her trying to make her well, and it worked, and she didn't stress out and die on me, and she started gaining weight, and she started eating more, recovered. But then we hadn't recovered from the drought. I couldn't really just release her. We still just weren't getting any rain. Ironically, we get a little tonight. That's why I drug her in here, because it started raining on us a little, and I needed to drag her in and reevaluate her. She was with me for a year and 3 months, and I just released her a few months ago, and haven't really positively identified her since. I have bunnies around here, but I didn't know if CinnaBunny had stayed here or if she had wandered off or whatever. But I had hoped that I would see her again, and here she is. She was just spitting distance from my porch. And now that I saw her in that cactus, I knew that there was a rabbit frequenting that, between that cactus and underneath the waterland turtle tub out there. So now I know this is her. She's been hanging around in my yard. I'm really glad that I've continued to put the food out for her, because she's stayed around. Looks like she's still doing fairly well. I know. Hang on, baby. She's still got her little boo-boo on this foot here. So while I've got her back here, I'm gonna go ahead and feed her a good meal again, just like the old times, and I'm gonna try a little bit different approach there, because that was the one thing that never really scarred up nice and good. It was still prone to bleeding again every now and then, because it was just all the way down to the muscle tissue there, and the fur skin never grew back over the top of it, even though I'd used collagen and all sorts of stuff. But I'm going to try something a little different, and maybe try to put a Tagaderm or a hydrocolloid dressing or something on there, maybe, that she can go back out to the wild with and wear that thing. Anyway, I'm just very happy to see her again. She's one of the longer and more difficult rehabs that I've had, and especially being a wild cottontail bunny. She was a really good, really great success story here. She pulled through, and I released her, and she's living out here on the property just fine, right around my yard, and still doing well. And she's just camped out here right in front of this heater. And I've tried to move her a little bit away from it. I've turned it down a little bit so she doesn't burn herself. But she's really enjoying that heater. It was a little bit cold outside, and then she got wet. It started raining, and I could tell when I went out there to get her. She was wet and cold, and I think she kind of misses the amenities of back when she was in rehab here in the house. She had a safe, warm place every night. It's a bit hard out there in the wild. She's been doing okay, but it's obvious to me that this rabbit, she recognizes me, and she's enjoying her stay here in front of this heater. Going to just treat her, maybe have her for another day or possibly two. The weekend's going to be somewhat warm, so I want to get her turned back out and released again. She's obviously doing well for herself. She's not starving to death. I'm continuing to put food out for her and the other bunnies and the possum that comes around. So she's doing well out there. I'll continue to backup feed and maybe even build a little shelter out there for her for this winter.